Thank you for joining me for my Get Organised, Stay Organised training on how to use Wunderlist.com to get your family, yourself, and your online business organised using this fantastic free tool. I've been using Wunderlist for at least 2 years now, and I have it on my iPad, my phone, my son has it on his phone, and I use it on my desktop as well. So it's so easy to use. I'm going to run you through some of the basics. There's an enormous amount that you can do with this app, but I will just run you through the basic operations today. And if you like Wunderlist, please go ahead and download it and get yourself organised. So here we go. I have logged in with my Wunderlist account, and you can see a very silly picture of me pulling faces up there in the left hand side. And down this side of the screen on the left side we have lists. So some of these are automatic ones that are part of the software, such as the inbox, and some of them I have added. I've added lists with kids' names or particular functions. So there's the general inbox, starred, which is you could use this red star for tasks that are urgent to highlight or prioritize your activities. There's a today view, which just shows me what's up for today. I have mine broken down by list name. What's on for the week ahead, today, tomorrow, Saturday. All. So you can see I have 99 items in all, and here they are listed, and you can see the due dates down there on the right hand side. A list for my youngest son, a list for my university when I was still studying last year, a list for my oldest son, one for myself, my husband, one of my clients, and then I've created one called important dates, and I have put in there things like public holidays, when the dog needs worming, birthdays, anniversaries, etc. So let's get into it. To create a new to-do, you click, this is how easy it is. You click in here, add a to-do, and you might say doctor test results. Enter, and that has created an item on a to-do list. I can click inside it and say that is due on the 22nd of February. It's not repeating, this is a one-off item. If it was someone's birthday, I could say repeat every year. If it was a weekly recurring like piano lessons, you could say repeat it every week. So this is not repeating. And it has automatically said it's going to remind me at 9 o'clock on the 22nd of February. I can actually turn that reminder off, or I can change the time of the reminder. I might like to know the night before, maybe 10 p.m. I can add some notes if I wanted to add some further instructions. I usually don't. And I can also add a file. Now I use this quite a bit when the kids come home with school notices, and I know that within the first day that notice is going to be lost. It'll fall off the fridge, it's gone forever. So I actually use my phone to take a photo of the notice, create an item in a to-do list, and attach the photo immediately. Then I can recycle that notice, and I know I have the image of what the notice was with me at all times. Okay, and then to get out of it, you just click back over this side and it will close it down. It works a lot. I find it works quite well on the app on my phone. I only usually use it on the computer if I want to load in a whole bunch of information at once, because then I can copy paste and things a lot easier. Okay, if I wanted to rename this, I would just double click on it and see how it's highlighted the text up there. I could just add something afterwards at 4 p.m. Okay, and that has changed it there. If I want to move this, I might have created it in the inbox, or perhaps I've created it under my name, but actually this was for Alec, I would just take the task and drag it into Alec's list. So it's gone from the inbox, and there it is under the list called Alec, doctor test results at 4 p.m. To complete an item, which is to me the pinnacle of getting this working properly, is to regularly go in and close off items. It's just a matter of ticking and it closes off. Now it will actually sit down the bottom. If you want to see what has been completed, you can ask to show those, and it just shows me there. There it is, it's crossed off for me. If I've accidentally crossed it off, I can untick it and it pops it back into the list, the to-do list. Now, to sort these lists, let's use, we might stay in Alec's list actually, because I've added a few things in there today. First of all, actually, let me tell you about shared lists. So down on this left-hand side, anywhere you see it just bulleted, that's a list that only I can see. Anywhere you can see the two people snuggled up together is a shared list. So Archer's list is shared between my husband and I. So we can both coordinate who's picking up, who's dropping off, what needs to go in his school bag, which uniform he needs to wear, what he's got on when. Alec's list is shared between Alec and I. Now, Alec is 19, he's a little bit older and should be able to manage his own calendar. You can see he's got some fantastic tasks in there, like picking up the dog poo. And so I can actually load things to do into here on my phone, and then they pop up onto Alec's phone. And we find it really effective actually to help everybody stay organised. And it's really a bit of self-discipline. So my husband will ask me something and I'll say, is it in the list? Is it in the list? So it's just a matter of getting everybody using the list all the time is really helpful. Now, you can see that I've added a couple of things in this list and they're sitting up the top where the rest of the list seems to be in date order. So you can sort your lists by using this sort function. It's up the top on the web page. It's down the bottom in the middle when you're using the app. So I'll click the sort button and I tend to sort by due date. That just makes the most sense to me. I push sort by due date and those two have jumped down in the list to where they fit in a date priority. I could do it by when I created them. You saw the other options under there. Okay, so that is sorting. To share the list, you can see there's another icon here, share. At the moment, it says I'm the owner of the list and it is shared with Alec. I could add another email address in here and share it with a third person. If there is an item that is super urgent or you can use a star function. Now, I used this when under my university, I would have every assignment, every lecture, tutorial, reading I had to do, all of my due dates in there. But the actual assignments or assessment dates, I would place a star on them. That way, it moved to the top of my list. I have it set to move to the top of my list. You can modify all of these things when you become a bit more, proficient at using this tool. You can have a look and make all of these settings change to what you like, but I've said if I place a star on it, move it to the top. That way I have visibility over it all the time. I know it's coming up. I can create a new list. So I have a list here for one of my clients. I could create a new list. I can make me just the owner of this list. I can click on list options. Do not disturb means that it doesn't remind me of anything, but list members, I could add more people to it and save. And there it is sitting there in the list. Now I might like to move that up. It's just a matter of dragging. Very simple to use and operate. Back in the list, so this is my list with everything in it. there's a More function tab up on the right. Again, it's down the bottom if you're using the app on a phone. Within the More functions, I can email that list to myself, or I can actually print it off. If I don't mind killing some trees, I could actually print that list off and pass it on to somebody else, or stick it on the fridge, whatever you like to do. We just use the app. We don't use any paper at all for this. Also, something I find really useful, and I've only just started using this, is if you notice up on, this is my browser, and I'm currently using Firefox. This works with all of the browsers. I've actually put a little, like a shortcut here that is an add to Wunderlist function. Now, the way that you add this to your browser is while you're in Wunderlist, you drop down on your name, go down, and there's one here that says install the browser extension. So if I click that, mine's already installed, but I'll just show you what it does. It recognizes that I'm in Firefox, and it would prompt me to add to Firefox, and it would actually download that little tool and pop it up into your browser. So I've already done that. The benefits of having that in your browser is, say I am reading something. So this is actually my blog. So I'll just use that as an example. I could be reading something on my phone, or, sitting on a train and I haven't downloaded, I don't know, you could use it for anything. Usually I would use it when I'm reading something on my phone and I think I really want to read this on my computer. So what I would do is say, click on this and say add to Wunderlist, and it prompts me, it's saying by default it's going to put this in my inbox, but I've actually created a new list called read later. Add to Wunderlist. And what that's doing is sending the link to this website into my Wunderlist. So let's go back over to Wunderlist and have a look. And there it is. Actually, let me just sync and make sure that I got everything. Sync now. You can sync on demand. It syncs fairly regularly, but you can just sync on demand if you need to. Double click. And here is the link to that article. So I find this great just for popping things in. You can also mail things to your Wunderlist, such as say your phone bill comes into your email client. You can actually forward those things into Wunderlist from your email client. It's been playing up a little bit on mine for the last couple of days, but usually I'm able just to, I get the phone bill and I go, oh boy, better not forget to pay that. I forward it to myself in Wunderlist and it turns up in here and I pay it and we don't pay it late. So I find that really handy. All right, now there is so much more functionality in Wunderlist. For example, smart dates, smart lists, a calendar feed. So if you've actually got things happening on particular days, you can actually feed this into a Gmail calendar. You can add more email addresses to it so that you can have information importing into Wunderlist from lots of different email accounts. I'm not going to go through that today, otherwise this training will go on for way too long. One thing Wunderlist can't do, which some users do complain about, but I'll tell you about it so you're aware, is you can't import large lists from another product into Wunderlist. So say you were using Asana or another organizational tool and you wanted to switch over to Wunderlist, there's no integration between those two pieces of software to actually bring the information across. If you've been using Excel or Word to keep a big list of things to do, you can't import that into Wunderlist, but you could on your computer just Control-C, Control-V, so copy and paste. Your usual shortcuts work in Wunderlist and you would just copy paste them into this tool. If you'd like to see the shortcuts under your name, I think it's under Account Settings, Shortcuts, And you can see there are the shortcuts that you can use. So Control C and Control V is your copy and paste to do. Sync, oh there you go, sync on demand is R. Smart list, this is where you control what happens with your smart list. So I've said if an item is completed, I'll just hide it from my view. I don't want to be looking at all the things I've done. Yeah, so you can have a play around in there. Notifications, I've asked it to push a notification to me on my phone, so it pops up on my phone to let me know that it's time to do something. I've turned off email notifications. I just found that the emails were clogging up my email service. I didn't need them. And by the time I look at my email, I only look at my email once or twice a day. So by the time I got the email, it was too late. So I've turned that off. And I've also allowed desktop notifications. So if I do happen to be using Wunderlist on my computer and something becomes due, it will pop up on my screen to remind me. Okay, there we go. So let's just show you one more. Let's move something around. Let's say, let's actually, one last thing. I'll just show you about recurring entries. So let's have a look at important dates. So Anzac Day. Anzac Day, Australia and New Zealand Army Corps holiday in Australia, happens on the 25th of April every year. You can see it's got a little clock with a circle around it. That's showing me that this is a recurring entry. If I mark that as completed, so this is the 2016 date, it has now populated the 2017 date. Okay, so I'll just go in and unfinish that because it actually hasn't happened yet. And refresh. Okay, sync. Where has it gone? Let's just sort it by due date. So there it is. It has popped back into my list. So that is the setting for that is inside Anzac Day. I've set this due on Monday the 25th of April and I've asked it to repeat every year. So as soon as I close it off, the next one 12 months later will pop in. Okay, I also use that for things like medication. So I do not tick it until it's been taken, and then it will populate it in my list for tomorrow. So, don't forget important things. And up here, this little bell icon is just showing me some of the things that were due recently or things that I have added recently. And again, I don't tend to look in that section very much. Okay, so that is how to use a Wunderlist or Wunderlist.com to get organised and stay organised. It's really about self-discipline, getting everybody using the list all the time and it being the one source of information for your family. I put doctor's appointments, everything in here, and we stay really organised. Everybody knows who's doing what when. I look at the all list. And if my husband says, should we go away in September? I can go down and have a look. Oh, I don't know what's happening in September. Oh, actually, yes, there's school holidays there. Great. Let's do something. And we can just stay organised that way. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, that's great. I'd love to see some feedback or some comments to let me know if there's anything else you would like to know about Wunderlist. There is so much more that it could do, but there you go. Thank you for watching. Bye.